safely relax and eat. And that's the good feeling we're looking for. When I have other people around who will protect me, so it's safe to relax and go ahead and meet my needs. So that's the motivation that is created by the good feeling of oxytocin. But it's more complicated. Oxytocin is stimulated by trust, touch, birth, and sex. Some of you may already have heard about some of this, but I'm going to explain it in a deeper way. Now, we've probably seen pictures of monkeys grooming each other. They put their fingers in another monkey's fur and take the insects out and eat them. And it feels good because touching someone else stimulates oxytocin, and being touched stimulates oxytocin. But if I let another monkey close enough to touch me, they can kill me in 1 second. Monkeys can be very violent. So they only let another monkey close enough to touch them if they already trust them. So how do you know who to trust? It's the oxytocin pathways built in your past. So in my past, my oxytocin was stimulated in my childhood, and that connected neurons that tell me who to trust today. And it's the good feeling of trust that we're looking for. So in the media, people are saying that a hug is what stimulates oxytocin. But that's not really true, because if you hug someone that you don't like, or someone that you don't like hugs you, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't build trust. It's fake. So what your brain is looking for is real trust. Who can I trust? Who will help me? Who can I help that will help me back? That's what you're really looking for. And that's what really stimulates your oxytocin. When you have fake trust, you just keep looking. Our brain evolved to make careful decisions about when to turn on the oxytocin, because trusting everyone would not promote survival. It would be nice if you had oxytocin all the time, but your brain is not designed to give it to you all the time, because then you would trust people who you should not trust. So your brain is making careful decisions. Is this a good time? Is this the person I can lower my guard with? And of course, when you're dating, you know that feeling very, very clearly. Or when you meet new people in a work situation, you are constantly deciding, can I lower my guard? Can I trust this person? And you are using the oxytocin pathways built from your past experience, because trusting someone helps you work together, get social support, and meet your needs and survive. And that's why your brain rewards it with a good feeling. A mammal longs for the dopamine of greener pasture, but when a common enemy lurks, it seeks the oxytocin of safety in numbers. Let me explain. We have two choices. We can stay with the herd, but that is frustrating, because when I'm with the herd, it's harder to get green grass. Imagine you're with a herd, and when you want to eat something, the other guy's horns poke you, and they step on your food, and they pee on your food. So animals would really rather spread out. They would rather go to greener pasture. Independent action is something that stimulates our dopamine. We want to go for it on our own rather than follow the herd all the time. But what happens when you do that? Your animal brain feels like a predator will eat you when you're isolated. and your oxytocin falls. So you go back to following the herd. The result is a difficult choice that we're making every minute of our lives. Should I follow others, or should I take a step independently? Should I take one step toward the group, or should I take one step towards something separate from the group? Okay, when you were 2 years old, did you take one step towards your mother or one step toward a toy? So this is the decision that we're always making. And it's frustrating because when you are with the group, you're frustrated because you want green grass. But when you get the green grass, you're frustrated because you don't have the safety of social support. So instead of being frustrated all the time, you can understand that this is what your brain is always doing, and just enjoy the dopamine when you have it, and enjoy the oxytocin when you have it. Oxytocin is soon metabolized, so you have to keep stimulating it to keep enjoying that nice, safe feeling. Okay? Oxytocin is eliminated like all of these chemicals. You get a little spurt, and then it feels good, and then your body eliminates it. And so you have to have another oxytocin moment, another oxytocin activity. So a good example of this is many companies try to have activities that create trust between the employees. Another example is if you're a couple and you try to plan activities to reproduce that feeling of trust. Parents, families, friends, we're always trying to renew that trust. How can I be closer to this person? How can I reactivate that good feeling? Now, a very different example is if you go to a large audience where you're with 1,000 people who are having the same idea, whether it's a talk about the brain or a sport activity or a music activity. You have a feeling of trust because you're sharing an important, something that's important to all of you. But it's not a real herd for your animal brain because you know that when you leave this group, they will not protect you from predators. So this is the complication of life. And this is why we want to keep doing it again and again. Whatever triggered oxytocin in your past will turn on your trust more easily today. So if you were young and you had a great time at a music event or a sport event, then when you feel bad today, you might dream of going to another event like that one. And I hope you will have a great time today that will connect neurons that you will want to go to another event like this one. However, those connections in your brain build more easily when you're young, so those are the highways in your brain, and I will explain that more later. Let's talk about serotonin, and I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and talk to you directly and say that this is not what you hear about serotonin in other places. Serotonin is about competition. And we know from 100 years of research that animals are very competitive. And people who watched animals in nature for the whole 20th century wrote a lot of studies about competition between animals. But today, nobody talks about this. In the academic world, they only talk about the cooperation among animals. and it gives a false perspective. The same thing is true in the medical world. When you hear about serotonin, you hear about people not having enough and using pills. The simple truth is nobody has enough serotonin because our brain is not designed to give you free serotonin all the time for no reason. You're designed to get a little bit when it helps you compete, and not to get it when it's not going to help you survive. So let's go back and see why it's so important in the animal world in specific moments. Serotonin is the pleasure of social dominance. Animals try to dominate in certain moments. They don't try to dominate every minute of every day. Because if they did that, then they would get into fights, they would lose the fights and get injured. So they only release it at certain times when it's relevant to their survival, which means it helps them get the resources necessary to reproduce and to keep their children alive. Now, part of reproducing is getting a lot of food because that makes the muscles in the animal world, and it makes milk, strong milk. And so animals use a lot of their energy in competition for food. Again, we don't hear a lot about that today because it doesn't sound nice, and people want to hear nice things about animals. Serotonin is not aggression. That is so important. Serotonin is the calm sense that I will get the banana. So in the animal world, if there's a banana between you and me, if I think that you are bigger than me, I'm not going to take the banana because I know that you will bite me, and I would rather avoid a bite than to get a banana. But if I see that I'm bigger than you, then I know that I can take the banana. When I see that I'm bigger than you, serotonin is released. And the serotonin gives me the good feeling of, yay, I can take the banana. It's not the same as dopamine. It's calm confidence. Calm confidence is what we all want. And the monkey who has calm confidence is not going to get into fights. So when you know you're stronger, you don't start fights because you just take the banana. Now, I am not saying that you should just take the banana because there are laws that allow us to not live like monkeys. So I'm not saying that we should be like monkeys because we have an extra human brain that limits this. The important thing is that I am always comparing myself to others, and your brain is always comparing you to others, and it rewards you with serotonin when it sees that you are in the one-up position. And this is what you're looking for. And when you know this, it's so important you know that you're doing it to yourself. If you don't know this, then you think that other people are judging you. And the fact is that you are judging yourself. Serotonin is the mammal brain signal that it's safe to assert yourself to meet your needs. Okay, that's what you need to do. I need to take action to meet my needs in a world full of other people. So I need to have confidence in my own ability to assert, and serotonin creates that confidence, okay? I get that confidence by comparing myself and feeling pride in my own strength. Pride in my own strength. That's what feels good, and you can only give it to yourself. It's easy to see this in others, but it's useful to recognize your own natural urge for social dominance, okay? We get frustrated when other people are controlling and manipulative and aggressive, but it's important to know that we have an urge for the one-up feeling, just like other people do. And when we're in the one-down feeling, we feel bad. It triggers bad chemicals. And when you know that you triggered those bad chemicals yourself, but you really think that other people are doing it to you. Serotonin is soon reabsorbed, so we are always looking for ways to stimulate more. We're always looking for a way to feel our own strength, to have confidence in our skills, to be in the one-up position. The simple word is respect. When I get respect from others, when others recognize